Total Sports Zone. All sports, all action, one zone.
All right, let's get right into it. The Royal Rumble is this weekend, one of the absolute biggest shows of the year for WWE. But here's the thing, one of their brightest rising stars is set to miss it. And the reason why? It's not an injury, it's not some big storyline, it's actually something a lot stranger. So we're gonna break it all down. So this is the central question, right? Why on earth is a known rising star going to be absent from the 2026 Royal Rumble? We're going to dig into the reporting from PW Insider and really piece this puzzle together. First, who are we even talking about? Then, why is this specific Rumble such a massive deal? And finally, we'll get to the real, kind of surprising reason he's not going to be there.
Okay, so first things first, who is this mystery man? Because to really get why his absence is turning heads, you've got to know this isn't just some rookie or a lower card guy. We're talking about a significant player here.
The man at the center of it all is Grayson Waller. Yeah, if you're a WWE fan, you absolutely know who he is. The guy is a walking soundbite, probably one of the most confident, in-your-face personalities they have.
And look, his resume speaks for itself. He's already been a WWE Tag Team Champion, so he's got gold on his record. He's consistently called a rising star, and he's been in a pretty prominent spot on Monday Night Raw, mixing it up with a team like the New Day. The bottom line is, this guy is an established, active part of the main roster.
All right, so we know who he is. Now let's talk about the event he's missing, because this isn't just any Royal Rumble. The 2026 show is a genuinely historic one, which makes it even crazier that he's not going to be a part of it.
And for anyone who might not be a diehard fan, let me just set the stage. The Royal Rumble is one of the biggest, most important events of the year. It's the official start of the road to WrestleMania. If you win the Rumble match, you get a championship match in the main event of WrestleMania. It can literally make your entire career in one night.
But this year's Rumble, it's on a whole other level. For the first time ever, it's being held outside of North America. It's in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That's a massive deal. They've got Linkin Park doing the theme song. They're promising all these huge surprises. Trust me, this is the kind of event that every single person in that locker room is desperate to be on.
So, let's recap. You've got a rising star, you've got a historic, career-making show. It should be a perfect match, right? A total no-brainer. So, why isn't he there? Well, this is where the story takes a weird turn. The reason is probably not what you're thinking.
And here we have it, straight from the reporting by PW Insider. It's not because he's hurt. It's not part of some elaborate angle. It's a scheduling conflict. Yep, he's actually booked to be on a string of NXT live events in the United States on the very same weekend as the Rumble.
This chart just lays it out so clearly. Look at the dates. They're identical. But then look at the locations. One is in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The other is a tour through Tennessee and Alabama. Last I checked, you can't be on two different continents at once. It's a logistical impossibility. Okay, and this is the real head-scratcher. He's missing a massive premium live event in a stadium, broadcast to millions of people around the world for what amounts to a domestic bus tour of non-televised house shows. That's the part that just doesn't add up on the surface. It really makes you go, huh, what is the thinking here?
So what does this all mean for Grayson Waller's career? Let's get into our final section, because it turns out this bizarre scheduling choice isn't just some random fluke, it's actually part of a much bigger and kind of confusing pattern that's been developing for a little while now.
So, if you want to understand why on earth he'd be booked for an NXT tour instead of the Rumble, you have to ask a simple question. Where has he been on TV? Or, more to the point, where hasn't he been?
And this timeline just lays it all out. Yeah, we've seen him on TV in segments with the New Day for sure, but look at this. His last actual televised match was way back in October. For months now, all of his in-ring work has been happening off-camera, on shows like WWE Main Event and these NXT house shows. So, missing the Rumble, it's not a sudden thing. It's just the biggest and most obvious example of this strange pattern.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, it becomes pretty clear. For some reason, there was a decision made that having him on that NXT live event tour was a higher priority than having him as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. It seems like, for now, his main role is to support the NXT brand's domestic tour.
And that leaves us with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? For a guy who everyone agrees is a rising star, what does this mean? Is this just a temporary assignment, using his main roster name to help sell some tickets for NXT? Or are we seeing the beginning of a major shift in his career path on the main roster for 2026? I guess only time will tell.